All right, let's not mess around. It is Friday of the Final Four, both men's and women's. So I tell you what, let's get right to it. I am really excited for both. Now, look, I understand everybody's losing their mind over Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark this, Caitlin Clark that. Well, I got to tell you, she deserves it. Any accolade that you're going to give, Caitlin Clark deserves it. And here's what I want you to watch when you're watching Caitlin Clark take on UConn. Watch your teammates. Like, this is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. Very clear, very easy. This is a dictatorship. Caitlin Clark rules the roost, and nobody seems to have a problem with it. And you know what? That's really good. No, it's really good. It's why they are so successful. And here's the deal. The game is going to hinge on a couple of things against UConn. One, let's take it from Caitlin Clark's side. You know what? I saw her play really bad in the fourth quarter against Indiana at Indiana. She got frustrated. She got flustered. And the reason I bring that game up is, well, frankly, that is what Gino Auriemma and his staff are going to point to. How can we frustrate here? I'll tell you what Indiana did. They kept the ball in front of them. Caitlin Clark, if you can keep it in front of her. When she played against that Van Leaf lady from LSU, she went right by her. Later on in the game, if you watch, Johnson, bigger, more athletic, jumped on Caitlin Clark late. It was a bad coaching move, really bad coaching move by Kim Mulkey, not doing that earlier. But when she did it late, I could start to see the frustration that I saw of Caitlin Clark. I saw it. Now, the game was over. The decision, it was decided. It was made way too late. But watch this. Caitlin Clark's the best basketball player in the country. Paige Bueckers is really good. There are some that are going to say Paige Bueckers is better. That's fine if you want to say that. But frankly, I don't care about efficiency numbers. I don't care about any of it. If you're going to say to me, who is the better player? Who would I rather have to win this game? It is going to be Caitlin Clark. Bueckers is 5'11". She doesn't look it. But she's very, very good. But she ain't Caitlin Clark. And I wouldn't put Paige Bueckers on Caitlin Clark. I would put the quickest big girl that I could and say, look, give her a little bit of room. She's not going to beat you hitting those threes from the logo. She'll hit one or two and everybody will go, yay, rah. Yay, rah, go fight, win. But you got to have some size on her. You can, when she gets the basketball, belly up on her, get into her, be physical with her with the ball. Don't foul, but be physical with her. She didn't like it against Indiana. And as the game went on, guess what? She started missing. She started getting frustrated. She started, quite frankly, showing her ass. And that's what you're trying to do. Now, from UConn's perspective, they're a little bit playing with house money. They got 5 people, 3 of whom are starters, that are out. And Paige Bueckers has been sensational, not only scoring, but rebounding. Remember, this is a woman that a year ago was a National Player of the Year. So it's not like she can't play. She's every bit on the level. Every bit on the level of Caitlin Clark. Better defensively, 9 rebounds, 3.5 steals. But the truth of the matter is this is Caitlin Clark's tournament. And you can't put Paige Bueckers on her for a long time. You got to put somebody athletic, somebody long. And maybe Paige Bueckers is that girl, but I don't think so. You got to put somebody that's going to get physical and frustrate her. And you know what? You got to come to the ball early. When Caitlin Clark has the ball out here, she's got to see you. She's got to see the lane, and she's got to see bodies. She can't see spread out. That gives her confidence. I'm really looking forward to seeing how Gino Auriemma lines up with this. I really am. Because you can't frustrate Caitlin Clark. And if I'm Gino Auriemma, she's got to see bodies. She's dribbling. The person to her right and the person to her left have to be in the gaps early. She's got to see hands. She's got to see bodies. And if she wants to kick it to her teammates and her teammates going to hit 12 threes, hey, God bless you. Good for you. Thank goodness. But I tell you this much, I'm not giving Caitlin Clark free reign against a slower defender like LSU did. The other game, I'm a little bit fascinated by. North Carolina State was a 3 seed. They're 31-6, and guess what? They look big and athletic. Like, they've got some ladies that I think could give Caitlin Clark real problems, but now they got to play South Carolina. Here's what I like about South Carolina. First, no one's beaten them. People have played them tough. Indiana played them right down the stretch after being down 22. But no one's beaten them. You got a chance at real history here. You got a chance at an incredible story here to go undefeated. Now, in a time when women's basketball is all that, here's what they've done. They won by 1,000,000. They beat North Carolina by 47, Indiana by only 4. They kind of let off the gas. All right? So what has to happen? Well, the big girl for South Carolina, who just announced she's going to the pros, Camilla Carrasco, has to be dominant. You have to get easy buckets against teams that are big and strong on the perimeter. How do you get easy buckets? Well, you can't just drive through them. You're going to have to throw the ball on the block. You're going to have to throw the ball to Cardoza, and she's going to have to deliver time and time again. Now, this isn't a 20-point-a-game score. This is a 14-point-a-game score. It's going to be fun to watch. I got USC taking on Caitlin Clark in Iowa in the championship. We'll get to that. But I'm telling you, when you watch Clark, bigger, more athletic person on her, keep the ball in front, and she's got to see the lane is jammed up. The lane wasn't even a little bit jammed up against LSU. Men's side, look, I said it before, I'll say it again. This Purdue team is different. This Purdue team is tough. Talked to Matt Painter yesterday, and he's like, look, let's not mess around. Why are we so good? The National Player of the Year came back, and he's dominant. Zach Edey. I thought Braden Smith played really bad against Tennessee. I thought Tennessee got in Braden Smith's ass, and I thought that Tennessee could have gotten in Braden Smith's ass a little bit even more. I'm anxious to see what North Carolina State does because Braden Smith is important. Now, don't make any mistake. The game, if you can't stop Edey, you can't win. If he's going to get 40, you can't win. But here's the deal with North Carolina State. We're all making a big deal about Big Burns. We are. We're making a big deal about Big Burns. Well, let me tell you something. Big Burns ain't stopping Edey. Big Burns is too little to stop Edey. You know who's going to have a hand in stopping Edey? Mohamed Diarra. If Mohamed Diarra at 6'10" and long, combining with Edey, can just make Edey shoot over him and not get buried by that big-ass body of Edey's. Edey's like 3 bills. Diarra's like 215. When he starts backing you in to post you up, you got to do everything you can, including pull the chair out from under him to get him out of the lane. Easier said than done. I think Purdue rolls in this. I'm sorry, I do. I can't see Burns doing what he does. I don't think you have to help on Burns with Edey. I don't think you got to leave shooters. I think North Carolina State is very dangerous with their shooters. But I got to tell you, I just don't think North Carolina State, maybe I haven't thought about them all along and they're going to prove everybody wrong, but I don't see North Carolina State having the freedom that they had against Duke. They could throw it to the post. They could run. And then they found shooters. I just don't see Purdue's defense doing that. DJ Horn was spectacular with 20 against Duke. He's not going to have the same carte blanche to do that. Purdue's a very good defensive team, particularly from Lance Jones on the perimeter. And I got to believe Jones is going to guard him. Now, can they shoot it enough? Well, North Carolina State maybe doesn't have to. They were only 3 of 13. I just see Purdue taking away the ease with which North Carolina State has played. I can see Purdue locking in on their own man, including the post, and making it difficult for all these assists. You know, the O'Connell kid has been very underrated. He's been their assist guy, but he's nothing that Purdue hasn't seen. I thought Ziegler might be something Purdue hasn't seen. I got Purdue in a rout on this one. And I also got to tell you, there is no chance that I'm picking against UConn. UConn, to me, is the story of the tournament. Yes, I understand we got North Carolina State. Yes, I understand Purdue's in their first Final Four. But UConn, to me, beating teams over the course of 2 years is fascinating to me in the NCAA tournament. Beating them bad. 39 against Stetson. 17 against Northwestern, 30 against San Diego State, 25 and more than that against Illinois. You just don't do that in the tournament. I'm sorry, you don't. That's the story of the tournament. Can they continue to rout people? I don't see them routing Alabama because Alabama's going to get the ball down the floor and score it. The over-under is 160. What way do you want to play? Do you want to play fast? You know what? UConn can do that. Do you want to go slow? UConn, you want to throw it to the post? UConn can do it. But here's the deal with Alabama. Their fast is really fast. Like, their fast is stupid fast. 109, 72, 89, 89 in their wins. They're going to get to 90. They are. Unless all of a sudden they just start missing everything. But I think they're going to get to 90. I think they're going to put themselves in a position where if they can get to 90, they can win the game. I'll say this, 85 and above, they can win the game. If not, they got no shot. Like I've always said in the tournament, I've always said if you're going to play in the 50s and low 60s, anybody can beat anybody. But there are only few teams that can get to 75 and above against good teams. Alabama get to 75, 80, maybe 90 against good teams. Now, they shot 16 of 36 from the three-point line. I mean, it was whap, 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 whap. Sears made 7 of 14. They do that again, we got a ball game. They go, let's just say for the sake of argument, 9 for 36, we don't have a ball game. But this is a good basketball team. This is a team that's going to rebound it too, and that's going to be fascinating. They had 16 offensive rebounds against a very physical P.J. Hall and them Clemson team. Are they going to be able to rebound against Klingon and the toughness, particularly on the offensive end? Here's what happens when you offensive rebound 16 rebounds. You know what happens? Shooters loosen up. I don't have to make this shot because I know, and the feel of the game tells me, if I miss, my guys are going to go get the rebound and we're going to have another shot. I don't tighten up. And if from the get-go, Alabama, watch this part of the game. If Alabama can get on the glass, the offensive backboard, their shooters are going to lighten up. If it's one and done, then you get a little bit tight. And here's the other deal. You know, everybody talks about, well, the visiting team, or excuse me, the underdog stays loose and the favorite gets tight. Yeah, I don't see that. There are a lot of times the underdog gets tight late. Oh, man, are we really doing this? Oh, man. Watch for that, too. If this is a game late, you know what? Two things are in play. When's the last time UConn played a close game in the tournament? 3 or 4 years ago. Certainly wasn't last year and certainly isn't this year. And then, can Alabama stay loose like the announcers are going to tell you? Because they're going to tell you, but that ain't the way it always goes. I go back to beating Michael Jordan. We had dudes that are 90% free throw shooters crapping the bed. And ever since then, I've looked at it. No, for 40 years I've watched this. It ain't always the underdog beating the big bad wolf and the big bad wolf tightening up. It ain't that. Anyway, I got UConn winning. I got Purdue winning. I'm sorry that this is giving you really only chalk, but what did I tell you from the get-go? I told you it was going to be UConn-Purdue. I did. And you know what? There's always upsets early. We all get excited. Maybe one team like Clemson or North Carolina State, I guess that's to make a run. But chalk usually wins out. Hey, don't forget on this week's episode of Maintaining with Tyrus, Kevin O'Leary, a.k.a. Mr. Wonderful. I thought that was mine. He doesn't hold back, doesn't at all, when he talks about cancel culture and not appeasing to those who disagree with him. He tells Tyrus he doesn't give a shit anymore. Listen right here.
Very often you try and make everybody happy.
We good?
People just have this natural desire to be liked by everybody. It's not possible to make everybody happy. So why?
I don't feel you have that gene in you. I don't think you're very concerned.
But I want to take it to a new level. I don't care. I'm not trying to make anybody happy. I'm just trying to make myself, stay to the creed of telling the truth, because it's what my mother told me when I was 15 years old. Always tell the truth. You'll never have to remember what you said.
Right.
That actually works for me. So I don't worry about who likes it, who doesn't like it. I couldn't care less. And I really don't care. And I think that's when you become free. You're not worried about rating reviews. You don't care. So I just go along my way telling the truth. Some people like it. Some people don't like it. But I want you to know with certainty, I just don't give a shit.